How's everybody doing? We'll start off where I left off because I wasn't available. Let's see here. I was out of commission, but I did put this together. How many people remember seeing this? And do you see a 0, 3, a 1, 0? I think that's Michigan, ladies and gentlemen. But this is all states. That was straight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see that in a second. Okay, so here we go with your 504, January 31st. On January 30th, 21 hours before it dropped, I told my VIP, look, focus on the top 5. I would do the number 1, which I promise will manifest 130 to 28. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't practice this, but as you can see, in most cases, I can make it happen in 24 to 48 hours. This was 21. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, 384. Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, big money pattern. You see it for yourself. On 125, I told my VIP, for investment purposes only, invest in the number 1 through the dates that you see listed. I promise it will happen. You see it for yourself. It happened. Ladies and gentlemen, 9, 7, 6 deuce. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I guaranteed. I told the VIP on 123. This dropped on 131. Told him, look, by 131, the very last date, I met my deadline. I guaranteed it would manifest in Tennessee. Here I go showing off again. You see it for yourself. On 130, I told you you would see it the very next day. 5 hours, less than 5 hours, less than 5 hours. Y'all don't hear me though. 2, 6, 2, 7, black sheep, black sheep. You see it for yourself, will manifest from 124 to 21. That was for Texas. That was a Texas prediction for Texas. All states, mind you, but that was specifically coming out of Texas. I have receipts. Ladies and gentlemen, 3, 2, 7, 9 on January 31st. Ladies and gentlemen, I told my VIP on 125 between the dates 126 and February the 3rd in Georgia, the top two. You see it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, 492, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, triple dollar signed it. Told my VIP to win. Focus on the top five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I put triple dollar signs. I promise those will manifest. 130 to 27 in Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, 835. Ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed to manifest straight. 835 in Michigan. 129 to 26. Ladies and gentlemen, 5704. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, triple dollar signed, the big money pattern 5740 to manifest in Ohio between the dates 128 and 25. Ladies and gentlemen, 121. Ladies and gentlemen, only big money pattern on fire. 125 to 22 in Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, 185, 16 hours. 185 to manifest straight. You see it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, 0286. Ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed to manifest 0286 straight by the deadline date. Ladies and gentlemen, 0392. Ladies and gentlemen, only 8 hours. You see it for yourself. Right there, only big money pattern on fire. 131 to 29. Ladies and gentlemen, 790. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you 790. Your number one number promised straight. 8 hours as proof. You would see this manifest. Ladies and gentlemen, 769. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise straight. 769. 129 to 26. Ladies and gentlemen, 237. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my VIP to win. Focus on my top 5 3 digits. I promise the first two will manifest. 128 to 25 in Tennessee. 237 straight. Ladies and gentlemen, 703. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my VIP. Look, to win, focus on my top 5 3 digits. I promise the number one big money pattern will manifest. 129 to 26. That was from Michigan. That was a Michigan prediction for Michigan. Number one big money pattern. Ladies and gentlemen, 504. Ladies and gentlemen, 504. Straight. Number one big money pattern. Is anybody seeing something special about my number one big money pattern? Straight. Ladies and gentlemen, 650. Ladies and gentlemen, to win on January 28th, I told my VIP, focus on my top 5 3 digits. I promise the first two, 1, 2, 650, straight Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, 965. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my triple dollar sign. If you notice, it will usually be the very first triple dollar sign or the very last triple dollar sign, which is the very last number you see. I will and have made it manifest first. You'll see that shortly. But this right here, I made this one manifest by the deadline date. Straight 965. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this? 3975? Ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed. Look, to win, focus on my top 4 digits, which will manifest 128 to January 5th. February 5th. And I also guarantee specifically the number 3 big money pattern in your state, North Carolina. You see it for yourself. 128 to 25. It's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, here's part of a cheat sheet that I put out for the VIP. As you can see, boom, 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 right there. Clear as day. And that you got 9745, you got 5491, 3478, 1392. Those will be the ones that will follow that number. Ladies and gentlemen, 6086. No, I'm sorry, 5086, 5086. Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, big money pattern. You see it for yourself. For Georgia, number 1. How are people missing the number 1? I give you specific instructions to do the number 1 big money pattern at least. You see it for yourself. 127 to 24, investment purposes only. Ladies and gentlemen, 673. Ladies and gentlemen, triple dollar sign, that big money pattern, 736. Promised it would manifest 125 to February 2nd in Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, 941. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, triple dollar sign, following winning instructions, focus on the top 5, which I promise the triple dollar signs will manifest 123 to 21 in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, 3895. Ladies and gentlemen, what you look at me go? Look at that. Only motherfucking big money pattern on fire. 3895. Thousands upon thousands. Look at this. You see it for yourself. I give it to you the best way I can. Only big money pattern on fire. A 5-year-old can pick out fire. Ladies and gentlemen, you got your 448. Ladies and gentlemen, 14 hours promised. Triple dollar signed it. Told you the very last number you see will manifest first. And I told you I don't practice this, but in most cases, I can make it happen in 24 to 48 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the black sheep tells us everything that we need to know. 448 was going to run straight. And the reason why, because nobody believed that it would manifest. So, the lottery commissions will tell you that, hey, we're going to pull this number because it means that will be paying out the least amount of money because nobody's playing it. Very few people will be playing that number. Ladies and gentlemen, 3705. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, 3705 to win on 124 for investment purposes only. I told my VIP, look, this set of numbers will manifest January 25th to February the 2nd. Guaranteed. 1, 2, 3. The number 3 big money pattern in Michigan. Straight! Here I go showing off again, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, 23 hours before the number even debuted, I triple dollar signed it, told my VIP, hey, look, something special is going on with this particular big money pattern. See, I don't see numbers. So therefore, I'm going by energy, frequency, and vibration. Ladies and gentlemen, you got your 586, February the 1st. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I triple dollar signed it, told my VIP, if you want to win, focus on the top 3 digits, which I promise. Triple dollar signs will manifest 124 to February the 1st. Can somebody tell me what today is? Ladies and gentlemen, February the 1st, 814. Ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee to manifest my number 3 big money pattern in Ohio, 130 to February the 9th, straight. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, here I go showing off again. Promise to manifest that big money pattern. Told you to win. Focus on the top 5, which I promised the top 2 will manifest 127 to February the 4th. Ladies and gentlemen, is that 933? Ladies and gentlemen, promised the very last number you see. Triple dollar signed it. Told you it would run from 127 to February the 4th. Promised. Ladies and gentlemen, 961 North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, only 23 hours. Told my VIP, if you want to win, focus on my top 3 digits, which I promise the triple dollar signs will manifest. As you can see, straight. Here I go showing off again. As you can see, to win on January 28th, focus on the top 5, which I promise the first 2 will manifest 129 to 26. I also guarantee in your state, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, 4572. Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 big money pattern, North Carolina, 128 to 24. Okay, let's see here. I always hear people screaming about New York. New York gave us 816 1220. Your state. Hmm. Black sheep. Check out those triple eights. 6504 8879. I really like that number, especially after seeing 8908. You see that right there, right? Same number. 2301. Excellent. Top two. This is guaranteed. 0261 5634 is guaranteed. These are black sheep. Quad zeros. 5666 0500. Quad sixes. 01001010 and 0156. Very last number you see, you know that will be running next. So as you can see, these numbers will manifest between the dates that I tell you in your state. Okay? And let's check out. Boom, 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 boom. Black sheep don't lie. Black sheep don't lie. I told you. I told you over and over and over again and again and again. Look at this. How is this possible? Energy, frequency, and vibration. Watch out for 4399. Watch out for 8765 4398. 2100 is very, very guaranteed. That's guaranteed. That is guaranteed. There's that 5160. Once again, y'all see that stuff. 130 to 29. Also guarantee your state, New York. 2 times black sheep on time to manifest. There you have it. Will manifest, ladies and gentlemen. These numbers will manifest. Let's see here. Watch out for 2012 and 2021. 2012 and 2021. Let's see here. South Carolina, well, they don't run today. So let's go. Let's go check out. Nope. Okay, Indiana. Indiana. Seven 119 4124. Okay. This is Indiana, your state. Eight 529-529-692 will manifest to win top 5 promise first 2 127 to 24 also guarantee your state, Indiana. Okay, 4124. 4124. Okay. All right, I'll tell you what to look out for right now. 3657, 3652. Look out for 2414. Watch out for 3053, 5930, 9083 on fire. Watch out for quad threes and 3650. Okay. Okay. Promised. New Jersey, 303 and 5189. New Jersey, 303 Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just check it out. You see 330, very last motherfucking number you see. You got it 128 to 26. Triple dollar signs will manifest 128 to 26. Your state, that's New Jersey. Promised. 5189, 5189, 5189, 5189, 5198, 5819, 5891, 5918, 5981. 1589, 1598, 1859, 1895. That one's strong. Write that down. 1958. After 1958, 1985. After 1985, let's see here. 5891. 5918. 5981. 8159. Boom, 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 boom. Y'all better stop playing with me. I won't play with you. Number one motherfucking big money pattern out of Michigan. We said that was for New Jersey. Promised. Number one. Your state. 129 to 26. We'll manifest to win. Focus on the top five. I promise the first two. Y'all see that for yourself, right? Okay, let's see here. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, y'all see that, right? Let's go. California, 584. California 584, California 584, California 584. Okay. Number one, big money pattern, California. 128 to 25, also guarantee your state. To win, focus on the top five, which I promise the first two will do. Ladies and gentlemen, Colorado pulled the same number, 548. Okay, and moving right along. Let's see here, Colorado. Moving right along. Connecticut, 220 and 2558. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. 220, 220. That is for Connecticut. Two zero. Only motherfucking big money pattern on fire, which I promise. I did this at 6:51 a.m. Shh. Told you it will manifest 131 to 29. Also guarantee your state, Connecticut, promised straight. Told you I do all states. But y'all don't hear me, don't. 255-82558-255-8-255-8-255-8. I told you I do all states. At 11:24 a.m., ladies and gentlemen, look at this. 255 motherfucking H. Wait! Will manifest from 126 to February the 3rd. I also guarantee in your state. Promised number one, big money pattern. 2, manifest straight in Connecticut. Again, the number one number. All states, all states, all states, all states. I told you I do all states. I promise. Look, if you can focus on my top 5, you should know that I promised the first 2. You should see this over and over and over again. Straight. Man. Thousands upon thousands. Straight. Okay. Idaho, they gave you 427. Idaho gave you 4461. Let's check it out. Your 427. Top 5 straight. If you focus on those top 5, man, oh man. To win, focus on the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which I promise, triple dollar signs will manifest 130 to 29. Also guarantee your state. Idaho. Promised. Straight. Four, 4, 6, 1. 4, 4, 6, 1. 4, 4, 1, 6. 1, 4, 4, 6. 1, 4, 6, 4. 1, 6, 4, 4. 4, 1, 4, 6. 4, 1, 6. 6, 4. 4, 4, 1, 6. 4, 6, 1, 4. 4, 6, 4, 1. That one's hot. Write that down. 4, 6, 4, 1. 6, 1, 4, 4. That one's hot. 6, 1, 4, 4, 6, 4, 1, 4. 6, 4, 4, 1. Okay, I'll give you the goods on that one. 4, 4, 6, 1. Write this down. You're going to see 7, 2, 3, 5, 5, 3, 2, 3, 5, 5, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 1. Your first triple dollar sign, 0, 3, 2, 5, 1, 4, 4, 6 on fire, 4, 8, 2, 1. Black sheep, 6, 9, 2, 5. Black sheep, 7, 6, 5, 4. Very last number you see, 0, 3, 4, deuce. Okay, moving right along. Idaho, Illinois. Illinois drops 4, 1, 7 and 3, 3, 9, 8. Okay, your 4, 1, 7. That was a black sheep, ladies and gentlemen. Black sheep don't lie. 417 was one of those numbers. Look, as you can see, 417 straight, black sheep, one of the numbers designed to fall between the dates 131 and 29, guaranteed in your state. So again, this is one of those numbers that hardly anybody was at the store or online wagering on. So the lottery commissions pick up on this algorithm and they tell you, hey, we have to draw this number. Why? Because that means that we pay out the least amount of money. So again, now I want to show you something. So you just saw that right there, right? Straight. Now watch this. This is how you do your due diligence. You see right there, 471, black sheep, designed to fall 125 to 22, 125 to 22, 471, right? So now let's come out of there and let's go 147. Do you see what I see? 147 guaranteed, 125 to 23. 147 promised. Big money pattern, triple dollar sign, 124 to 22. 124 to 22. Today is 2-1. Top 5. To win, focus on my top 5 3 digits. I promise the triple dollar signs. That's the first set of triple dollar signs. That's the top 5 if you're focusing. Three, 9, 8, 3, 3, 9, 8, 3, 3, 9, 8, 3, 3, 8, 9, 3, 8, 3, 9, 3, 8, 9, 3, 3, 9, 3, 8. Bam, boom, 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 boom. Is that a black sheep? Right there. So again, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, there's 200,000 box, no, I think it's 100,000 box combinations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the top 6 of 100,000 possible right answers. And you see it right here is a black sheep. That means nobody was playing it. 130 to 28 will manifest in your state. And that was Illinois. And in most cases, I can make it happen in 24 to 48 hours. Okay. Iowa 769. Iowa 1681. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do 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 do. 11:43 a.m. 769 Promise straight for Iowa. Will manifest triple dollar signs, which I promise. Also guarantee your state, Iowa. And that was between the dates of 129 and 26. To win, focus on the top 5, 3 digits. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. That's your 5th one right there, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you the truth every single day. Right there. That's straight, ladies and gentlemen, and promised. 1681, 1681, 1681. One 68 1186 1618 1816 1861. Okay, 6118. All right, that's a good number, ladies and gentlemen. 6181. 8116811 8116. Also a good combination. 8161 8611. Okay, let's give you the goods on that one. Let's see here. You're going to see 1186, 1168. You're going to see 2790, 2791, 2798, 5790. Those are your top five. Your only big money pattern on fire is 5843. Black Sheep 1298 9007 9079. And then the very last number you see is 1973. I'm going to go with 1793 for the straight win. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take me a small break because before you know it, numbers will be dropping out again and I'll be back at work. So again, let me pop this off for you right there. Okay, I think I got it all squared away. I was going to, let me see here. I see for Fantasy 5, it's up there, it's over $700,000. Fantasy 5, I see 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 11, 30. I see 2, 4, 5, 31, 30. Let's see, 11, 19, 23, 27, and 32 heavy. That's a mix of the frequencies there. You got 4, 5, 30, 31, 32. Let's try 2, 11, 19, 30, and 31. Let's go 5, 18, 23, 30, and 4. That's your Fantasy 5, ladies and gentlemen. I really like that set. This set, it's got a good combination. This set has got a good combination. You got 531. 531. Yep, so those are the ones that I like right there, highlighted. So remember your 1003, remember your 3602, your 1020, and these are good till okay, I'm going to see everybody at the winner's table no matter what. Abundant prosperity in health and in wealth to all who follow me and believe in the hard work that you see me accomplishing every single day without fail.